This week on Tomb Raider, the action-adventure DVD game, the boys discuss their favourite enemy types, spotlight ThatNorskChick's musical talents, and adventure through the Parisian Ghetto.
Okay. I'm back to play some more Tomb Raider, the action-adventure game in a DVD, and we're on to another mission. I think we're still in Paris, though. Can you see what the mission is this week?
Let's do it. Right, Parisian Ghetto.
Follow the clues in Von Croy's notebook. Now, I know this level's a bit infamous in the Angel of Darkness game for being really incomplete. They just sort of rushed it out. This was the one where it was meant to really open up and you can explore like all of Paris. But I think in practice, it was just a load of loading screens and players got a bit wound up and annoyed by it. And there's loads of NPCs, pointless dialogue because they weren't fully fleshed out because it was rushed again. Anyway, ready?
Okay to start. Go. How did she get there?
I've slept in better
I
places.
guess she was looking for somewhere to hide from the police.
Yeah, makes sense.
Werner's notebook mentions Bouchard. If I track him down, maybe it will lead to something.
Can't believe she's in the same clothes again, though.
Yeah, I think she has it a bit rough in this game.
Yeah, who would do that? I mean,
I'm always sure to change my clothes every time I go to sleep and wake up the next day.
right, we exploring.
Yeah, let's explore. Go.
I like the way the camera's. She's looking round while you're waiting to make a
Not
decision.
just completely stationary. Oh, hello. We're gonna make some friends.
NPCs.
Is this your pitch?
All Paris is my pitch. Got any spare change?
Whoa.
For a coffee?
Maybe. I need to find a man.
Then look no further, my petite.
This is a particular man. Bouchard. Louis Bouchard. Know him?
No. Never heard of him.
Even for spare change?
Go away, I never heard of him.
Oh, who is this character? Well, isn't
I
it?
think we're probably only left to climb, but I am intrigued to see what's going to happen if we explore again. Can we do that?
I was going to say the same thing. Will it repeat it? Let's do it again. Yeah. Bonus point, maybe. Oh no, it's the same. Maybe she'll rough him up this time.
Is this your pitch?
Oh,
All Paris
shall we
is
press
my
OK to
pitch.
skip?
Got any spare
Well,
change?
this time I actually heard it right.
Maybe.
At first I thought she said, "Is this your
Then
bitch?"
look no further, my petite.
Oh,
This is a
There's
particular
like a dog around
Bouchard.
it
Louis Bouchard. Know
on
him?
the bottom. I like how
it's
he's
got a
just
good bit of steak
Never
there.
heard of him.
steak,
Even for spare
yeah.
change?
Yeah.
Go away, I never heard of him.
Right. Shall we explore?
Yeah, let's climb this time. Have you played a game where it's required that you keep on going back to somebody before they give you? That's so annoying. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
That's happened to me in Echo the Dolphin. You have to like go back to like this NPC, like another character, like 5 times before it gives you the information. It's just like, why would you?
Without any clues, you need a gameplay hint if you're going to do that. The best one from memory for me is Resident Evil 2. There's like, it is an Easter egg, so obviously you're expected to work a bit harder for it. But you have to like click on I think it's a photo on a desk in the police station 50 times or something to unlock a Easter egg, like a costume or something. But yeah, after getting rejected twice.
Stuff like that. How do people find it out? Do they like look at the game code or?
No idea. I think nowadays there's more of that, but then there's more to find now as well. So you know, its difficulty has increased.
Yeah. And developers do that, don't they? They hide stuff even more intricately and hidden in the code and stuff. Right, we've got some options here standing up atop of the abandoned tube.
It's got to be climb.
Yeah, let's climb. Just straight away climb. So what I'm guessing the look tells you every time is, oh, it looks like I could climb that, or like points you towards. But I'm wondering now, like, is it like a look and then, oh look, I found a secret, a golden rose, a jade dragon.
It could be. We've looked a fair few times though so far. So we've got to jump this one because we've just climbed up. There's no point.
Upwards and upwards. I could see somebody there in the distance. There we go.
Yeah.
Did you see how she kicked up some dirt as she stops there?
Ah, that's cool. Graphics definitely better. PS2, you know, jump. That's a good part of the game. We're talking, right?
Yeah, let's have a chat with this guy. Tattoo on his arm.
You looking for anything special, little lady?
So what are you, a city guide?
That's right. I'm a city guide, all tastes and interests catered for.
Good. I need directions. I'm trying to find a man called Bouchard. Do you know him?
That's not a healthy kind of question to be asking.
Don't tell me Paris is dangerous.
Oh, we got all kinds of rough stuff here in Paris, including our own serial killer. You heard of the Monstrum, huh? You heard of him?
Oh, phrase A or phrase B. The Monstrum is a him? How do you know that? What do you really know about the Monstrum?
They seem even more similar than the last options. Up to you.
Well, I would be like, why are you assuming it's a him? However, I guess what we want to do is dig, and B is more
Open
investigation.
Open question. Yeah. Okay. Phrase B. Let's do it.
What do you really know about the Monstrum?
Not much. The killings are very messy, you know, grisly, no one safe.
Even Bouchard?
Lady, no one, no exceptions. Have you heard what the Monstrum does to the victims?
So how do I contact Bouchard?
He won't have time for casual callers. Been having staff problems at his club, I hear.
Bouchard runs a club?
Yeah, Le Serpent.
Seems like we're going to be off to the discotheque. A couple of questions about this guy. What's up with his fingers? Sausage fingers again. What's he wearing here? Has he got like a...
Oh, is it like a necklace?
No, it wasn't. It was like... Should we talk to him again and have a look?
All right. We can skip it once. Oh,
You looking for anything special, little lady?
it's like a
So what are
stopwatch.
you,
Is
a city guide?
it a
That's
pager?
right. I'm
Yeah,
a
I think it's
city
a
guide,
pager.
all tastes and interests catered for.
Good.
All
I
right,
need
I'm
directions.
skipping.
I'm trying to find a man called Bouchard.
Okay.
Do you know him?
Oh, we could ask a different phrase.
Let's do the different phrase. Might as well.
We wouldn't have known that.
The Monstrum is a him? How do you know that?
I don't know what
Oh,
it
those
is,
hands.
but I'd watch my rear on the streets if I didn't know my way around.
Which you obviously do. So how do I find this Bouchard?
He won't have time for casual callers. Been having staff problems at his club, I hear.
Bouchard runs a club?
Yeah, Le Serpent.
Okay.
So it's just showing us that it didn't matter what we said.
No, pretty much. You get the same option.
How do you feel about
I wonder
that?
if she would have given you the notebook though in the apartment, and we just had the extra scene of looking for it. That's a potential.
Yeah, or maybe it would have taken some more coaxing out of Margot.
When you were talking about his hands, it's just one color as well, and it made me think of like single. Is it called single cell shading? That art style, not unintentional though in this.
I mean, the
Ready
dumpster
to leave?
behind him. Yeah, let's leave.
Let's go to the discoteca.
Ah, I recognise this character. Do you know who this is?
It looks a bit like, is it Amanda?
It does look a bit like Amanda. No, but this is Janice, the friendly prostitute, which is very popular amongst the Tomb Raider community. So I think
They're the best kinds of prostitute.
Hmm?
They're the best kinds of prostitute. The friendly ones.
Yeah.
Let's talk to our friendly prostitute.
Hi, Janice.
Not a lot of passing trade at this hour.
It's early yet. Move along, ma chère. You
That
Have
hair.
you worked?
What is going on with the hair? Like a thing over the top of the fringe.
It's like a helmet over a swim cap.
Yes. All right.
Have you worked in this neighbourhood for long? And I wouldn't worry, we're not in the same class. I feel like the second one's a bit mean. Should we go for the first one?
Yeah. Be nice.
Not that the outcome.
Have you worked in this neighbourhood for long?
What can I do for you, chérie?
I'm looking for someone you might know. Name of Bouchard.
You won't find him here, ma chère. He did run the club across the road, Le Serpent Rouge, but had to move premises. There was a lot of trouble, I heard. Things needed to lie quiet for a while.
And no one knows where he is.
One's a miserable old devil called Bernard, who was the janitor there. He hangs about in the park sometimes.
She said the Serpent Rouge across the road, yet I saw the Serpent Rouge sign behind her head earlier on in that scene.
Oh, that's the other one. Yeah.
By the way, do you recognise this ambient track?
I'm tempted to say Von Croy levels of Chronicles, but I might be wrong.
I think it's earlier. I think it's a Tomb Raider 2 around the Wreck of the Marriott Gloria. But I could be wrong. But I've definitely heard it before.
There you go, we'll find that out.
Reusing. All right, let's explore. We're going to go
Explore.
and find the can't we? Upstairs we go.
Oh, more NPC. Oh.
Your name's Bernard. Janice said I might find you here.
She shouldn't be giving my name out like that. What do you want?
Snitch.
I'm busy.
I'm trying to find someone. Janice said you worked for him.
You mean Bouchard?
He may know what happened to a friend of mine.
Bouchard has had big trouble lately. And he owes me. Big time.
Perhaps I can help you. What does Bouchard owe you?
A box. My box. And I want it back. It was hidden at his old club, the Serpent Rouge. But things got nasty. I had to leave it behind.
What if I were to retrieve it for you from this club?
I know a password that gets you past Bouchard's door guard at his new hideout.
Okay. So do we have a deal? Your box for the password?
Deal. This will get you into the garage next to the Serpent Rouge. From there, a passage leads you into the main building.
And that's definitely India in Tomb Raider 3. So, like, I think this guy in the original game just says, "Leave me alone, I'm busy." And it's like they had to cut lines from it. So we're actually seeing what you're meant to get from that NPC then.
And then that would explain more about how you get into the club, because they probably just cut that bit but didn't put in how you get the password. I mean, you know,
I didn't hear the password at the end of that conversation, did you?
we'll get it in exchange for his box.
But I thought the box was hidden by Bouchard.
Oh, I don't know. He didn't say it. So if we know it, as in Lara, it wasn't on screen. Right, shall we look?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Or should we? Let's look, because there's some lockers there. There might be a secret.
Yeah.
There might be something useful on the workbench.
Aha. Well, how do you get to the workbench?
Look at
Play
the,
safe?
The eyeshadow there. Yeah, let's play safe.
Go to the workbench.
Oh. So,
Oh, it's just doing it for us.
I'm guessing lift the car was her going to be like fucking Hercules, like.
Well, I thought that it was exactly the same thing, but well, let's search because we know there's something on the workbench. Yeah.
Yeah, searching now.
Hey,
I'll take this socket wrench.
got a socket wrench.
And then she goes down, made up her mind for us. And then up. That was a quick transition. I wasn't able to follow that so easily.
No. I think it was, just a down along that. Should we have a look around?
Yeah, let's have a look around here.
Oh,
Now, how do I get out of here?
that was a secret noise.
Yeah. Did we get a secret?
I don't know. Maybe we did get a point, but it's in the background rather than displaying it.
I mean, that
Ahead?
was sketchy. Yeah, ahead.
Looks like I need a special tool
Looks
for
like
this.
Press I to go to your inventory
Okay, aye.
and select the tool is the one we just picked up, I'm assuming.
I isn't doing anything for me, but if I press enter,
Uh,
it does.
click on it, like literally mouse.
Yeah. And then we're selecting that thing we just found.
Yeah.
Socket wrench. Use.
We better get a point for this. Well, I know what we're going to do.
We're going to go for it, aren't we?
We're going to go for it, and we might have to do quick inputs. And by quick, I mean not that quick. Right, use arrow keys.
So move the crosshairs and then press OK to fire.
Well, I haven't got any crosshairs, which is tricky. I got shot.
I shot him.
I don't have crosshairs on my screen, which is
I'll
a bit tricky. I might have to just quickly replay that section.
What was the
I've just got... Oh, she got shot. She goes, "Oh," and then that was it. Quick load, though, to be fair, so that was good. Where did the crosshairs?
Looks like
It appeared
I
on
need a
the
special tool for
left,
this.
and then you had to move it to the right. But mine didn't actually focus in on the guy. It was like slightly to the side of him. So I went back left again, and it went all the way over there. Then I went right, and I was like, well, okay, that's probably the most close I'm going to get. Okay, let's shot him.
So I'm going to give this one more go, and if it doesn't work, then I'll just yeah, no crosshairs, which makes it slightly tricky.
Can you just click on him?
Yeah, she's dead again. Right, I will not look, and I will go leave, and hope that we get the same cutscenes. Did you just get a point for that?
I got to mission accomplished. 4 out of 5 points again.
This door must open from the other side.
Oh, okay, so I've got a different thing here.
Ooh, interesting.
It says it opens from the other side, so I think I have to do this bit.
Let's go.
Looks like I need a
Tell me
special
what's
tool
I
for
can't.
this.
I haven't got any crosshairs.
Well, could you just press
Oh.
right and enter?
This is not good.
Game breaking fault.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, I'm gonna have to. I've got to go back and get the. I might have to try this. Try this level not on my laptop to get to the same bit. Not now, obviously. Have you reached the end of the mission then?
I have. So what we can do,
We'll call it. We'll call it there then.
and we will make a note of the score, which is 16 out of 100 now, and the code, which is 5.
Excellent. Okay, there we go. Password for next week then.
Hope you join us then. This has been AOD, the DVD game. So, this is our question of the week. This week we're asking, what is your favourite enemy type? Let me know your favourite enemy type in the comments below. And Nick, you can let me know your favourite enemy type as we talk about the enemy types right now.
Excellent.
You know, I want you to feel included, like the game we're playing here. You know, it's Lara Croft for everyone. That means you, my friend. So
10-minute monologue coming up now.
10-minute monologue coming up. You ready? No, I'm going to go through a few of my faves, and I just want you to like interject, like if you agree or if you disagree, or if you have any sort of other ones you'd add to it. So, like, I've got some honourable mentions that we'll start with. So I wanted to say the Scarabs and the Wraiths from Tomb Raider 4. I think they bring a welcome sort of new gameplay mechanic to it that we hadn't seen up to that point, and those ones work well.
Yeah, I think at first I was a bit unsure about the Wraiths because they're like annoying, but once you figure out there is a way to kill them as well. And what was the other one you said?
The Scarabs. So they just sort of like flood the floor. It's like the Mummy, the movie. But
similarly, you can have the torch to kind of keep them away from you. So I do like the way both of those have got a kind of mechanic that you can use to your advantage as well. So it's not just annoying, you can do something about it as well. So yeah, I agree.
The Wraiths are more like a sort of puzzle element, aren't they? And you get different elemental ones too, so they sort of solve slightly differently. And they, I think they hurt you different amounts as well.
Fire ones can set you on fire. Not every time, but I think they've got the ability to.
Those ones work quite well. However, I think Tomb Raider as a series, when they're like pushing on, trying to get new enemy types, sometimes it really doesn't work. But that's a question for another week. We'll do worst enemy types another time. Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be my sort of secondary tier, and then I'll go into my like top tier of enemy types. If that's cool with you. This is my pretty cool list. So it's pretty cool, yeah. Raptors from number 1. I think they're some of the coolest. Yeah. Because it's just like, oh my God, there's dinosaurs here. It really feels like when you go down into that Lost Valley, it's like this is really somewhere else.
I think they work well in terms of actual gameplay as well. Like they're kind of fast. They're fun to jump and shoot, but they're not too brutal either. Like T-Rex in 3 is a one-hit killer, and it's a bit, that loses a bit of fun.
And it's a bullet sink as well. That one, you blast it for ages. I guess the level design actually really brings out the character or the what do you say, like the traits or the speed of the Velociraptor really well, because they come in at you from across the green plain.
And that noise as well.
Like when we get to it, I think my favourite has the best sort of not musical cue, but like the best sort of enemy growl or whatever.
What is that?
If that makes you guess it or not, I don't know. So moving on to number 2, I like the small spiders because it's cool when they explode when you shoot them.
And realistic.
Yeah, very realistic. So much blood.
It's those Chinese exploding spiders that, the Great Wall, I assume you're talking here.
Yeah, exactly them.
It's the breed. They just blow up.
Yeah. That's some really good video game sort of logic, like make it more dramatic. I feel like 3 has a bunch of cool ones. I've got vultures from Nevada. In general, I like big birds, and birds of prey. Just seeing them soar overhead just sort of completes the look of that first sort of desert level in Nevada.
Yeah.
I also like they're called tribesmen, the look of those guys, and the green lizards. I was really freaked out and surprised when I first saw one of them.
I'd say with the tribes people though, there are kind of subcategories, and I would perhaps put more towards the bad side, the blow dart ones, because poison is so frustrating.
The ones I prefer, because they don't actually harm you that much, but the way they sort of come at you through grass, sort of screaming, and with is it like little axes or knives? I mean, you like this, but I can just easily sort of dispatch them. Makes me feel good. I'm not...
Well, when you've got a Desert Eagle or a grenade launcher, yeah.
It's stacked in your favour, isn't it? Really. 4, I think we have some really good looking enemies as well. Like we have scorpions, mummies, and the crocodiles look better than they ever have done before, and especially in that setting.
I think, I completely agree. Croc would be definitely one of my kind of shout outs. I think that as a whole, water enemies don't work particularly well. Again, we'll probably discuss that if we do when we do worst enemy week. But Crocs work really well, particularly in 4, as I think you just said, the environment. And I'm thinking in particular, and the level names slipped my memory, but there's like a square room, and there's almost like a moat going around the outside. Yeah. And why that works so well is there's a slope going into the water, so the crocodiles can be in the water or come on land, and that just works really well.
I was totally one of those players back in the day playing 1 for the first time, where I would just get out the pistols with full like unlimited ammunition and just wait at the side of the pool. I would never jump in because I was so afraid. I would wait until I'd shot everything dead in the water, wouldn't give it a chance before I leapt in.
Although, also shout out to the flying crocodiles of the cistern. If you flood it early and then de-flood it, if that's a word, floating crocodiles.
You can get flying lions in number 1 as well if you kill them on or by where like a block is, and then move that block out from underneath them if they come onto it, sort of thing. So
that sounds scarier. Flying lions sounds scarier than floating croc.
Yeah, what would you rather face? Okay, so going on to number 5 from the classic series in my cool tier would be gladiators. I really like fighting them for some reason. I know it makes no sense that they're still down there and alive, but it just makes, you know, your standard sort of fodder enemy. For that, I really like it. And I've noted down as well that I think the rats, you have a rat swarm sort of in number 5 in the island levels, and I think that's the best rats have been, because they've been a recurring enemy in previous games, but it's the best they've been since those giant ones you got in number 1.
Are they the ones that follow you? Because I remember them in Rome as well, but they follow you into the water as well, which is cool.
Yes.
But they only stay on the surface, I think. So you can, which again is cool because you can swim down and hide from them. Yeah.
It's a difficult thing to make rats seem like a hard enemy at all. Like, why are you fighting a rat? Surely just leave it. More like a fear factor thing, like from Indiana Jones, than like this is an enemy that could have ever kill me. So you ready for my next tier before the eventual winner?
Hit me.
Now, I bet you're going to have some to add to this tier. This tier I'm calling survival horror. They give you that feeling and that fear like a survival horror game, even though it's like an action adventure game. It's like they don't sort of fit the game, but they're still giving you that sense. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think I can predict a few of the ones that you're going to mention.
So if I were to say Tomb Raider 1...
So we've got to go Atlanteans.
Definitely the Atlanteans. So there's 3 different types. You've got the cat mummies, look really tall and gangly and freaky. You've got the winged demons, which I found like sort of raised my heartbeat because they looked so like such killing machines, really. And the big tension building ones are the hatching demons. Remember that? When you have them pods and then they explode
the pods make them better as an enemy, because then there's almost backstory there as well. It's not just an enemy who's waiting behind a door, you know. There's a reason that they're burst out. I will say with the winged ones though, I wouldn't put them in my favourite, because I like the way they look and things, but they just push you off the platforms and that just gets frustrating.
Okay. Yeah. From number 2, can you guess what I'm going to say?
There's the stone creatures in Floating Islands. Is
Yeah.
that the weird float? They fly in and they're not moving, and then is that
Like-
them?
The stone warriors, yeah. Specifically the ones with spears are a bit more damaging or whatever, but I was
Yeah.
in such a weird state when I first entered that level. It does something to you, doesn't it? Because it's just so, this is strange. And to have these things flying at you from like over there, like I got really panicked. But they're not actually that hard. You can
No.
just sort of, I think you could even blast them with one of your weapons, like a rocket launcher or something, before they even come alive.
Yes, I remember almost having to, because I played 2 quite young, so my skill level was much worse. So I remember having to shoot them before they landed, otherwise I got annoyed and frustrated and they'd come and kill me. So I remember taking advantage of that exploit.
And I remember that just the other day because I'm not very good. Question for you, because that's another one which I think it explodes if you kill it. Is an enemy better if there's some sort of explosion? Is that just like scientific proven fact?
The only thing is though, although it works because of the difficulty curve growing, the Atlanteans explode and then they can hurt you. That's kind of, that would almost normally swing me towards bad enemy because it's frustrating, but it doesn't, because it kind of works. And
I can get that, yeah, it's going to be frustrating, but I think it's cool regardless.
Yeah.
It's more explosions, like the 6-year-old in me wanting to watch Transformers films or whatever. Right, let's trot through the rest of these survival horror enemy types, and then we can go on to our absolute faves. From 3, you've got mutant scientists. Start seeing them in Antarctica, and they are just these demon creatures. The one which crawls along and then like spits, is it fire or poison?
around the meteorite bit on the way to that boss, is it in that area?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also in the one where you're riding carts.
Yes, I do remember them there. Yeah.
They give you the jump scares, these ones as well, you see. So I guess that gives it the sort of survival horror edge to me. I was gonna do a quick mention of the ghostly sword skeletons.
Yes.
Tomb Raider 5 Chronicle. I found these quite difficult to get past when we were doing our Race to the End series.
I think it's because you don't know you can't kill them the first time you're playing, so that can make you try. Yeah.
Quite a lot of effort, I suppose, to create a brand new enemy type for just to use in one small section, but that does make it sort of special to me, I suppose.
Yep, and that's true also of, I believe, the same level, or is Labyrinth. The what we thought was a werewolf, but is actually
Some people list it as a minotaur.
Minotaur. That's it.
I
Yeah.
think it definitely looks like a werewolf. I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
Should we do our favourites of the whole series now?
Let's do it. I will say you haven't mentioned many later game enemies.
Well, I like to leave you to that because I haven't played the reboot series yet, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the 3 Legends sort of timeline.
The combat is changed and it's quite more actiony, so I think the enemies lose a lot. They almost doesn't matter what shape they are. They'll just be an enemy to shoot at, and they retexture them quite a lot, I think, as well. So you'll get like a puma and then a jaguar and then a lion, and they're all essentially the same enemy but slightly just rendered differently. So I do think the original series for this question is your best place to look.
I think that is something that they did in the original series anyway. You do have
That's true.
tigers, snow leopards, lions, pumas, and they all look similar. They have different sort of sounds.
But when you're talking about innovation in Chronicles, and then you go to like Underworld, which is the most developed one and potentially the best of that reboot. There's probably only 5 or 6 different types of enemy, you know, in a bigger game, better hardware, more memory. So
You want more.
potentially,
So
but
I'm intrigued as to whether now you're going to actually hit me with a classic Lara enemy type as your favourite.
Rise and Shadow. No. I do have to give a quick shout out to the later 2 and 2013, I suppose. But just to mention, really, that actually they're similar to that middle trilogy of quite a lot of the enemies are either human or wild animals because of the game being kind of jungly and adventure-y, and she's got a bow and arrow. That there aren't many enemies. It kind of goes away from so much action.
Does it remove the fantastical element of the enemy selection? Is it sort of more like, okay, we're in this terrain and we're only going to see this actual type of beast or enemy that we might actually find here?
So I would say yes to some extent, but there is some slightly rarer animals, if you will, and they work it into the storyline very well. But then you get the fantastical as well. So they are in there, but it's kind of done slightly more down to earth than the maybe more storybook order series.
Are all 3 of those games not globetrotting Tomb Raider adventures? Are they all set in? This one's in an island. This one is in the cave, or
pretty much. There's some variety in Rise. She goes to different. There's almost a few different hub worlds, and they're different in style. But Shadow and I think 2013 are very much you're in this location. There is some variety if you go up a mountain. You know, it can be snowy or something like that. But yes, they're very much more grounded. But the actual action makes the enemies quite good. So Rise, Shadow, you fight a few kind of. They're almost more on the boss side, I think, than enemy. But the way you fight them with the bow and arrow makes it a very fun fight. So that's a good enemy. But they're probably more of a boss, and I may have mentioned it when we talked about bosses.
sometimes it's hard to distinguish what's a boss and what's not. I feel like I can kind of do it instinctively, but it doesn't always follow the pattern that you might get in like a beat 'em up, where there's an end of level boss and it's very like Sonic. It's very segregated by level and boss. Yeah.
Might have to be done on hit points, maybe.
So who's going to go first with the fave?
Well, it's your question, so shall I leave you to do the last signing off? This is the greatest one.
Yeah, thanks for your opinion, Nick, but actually the answer was.
So my one, I don't think we've. You talked about velociraptors. I don't think, and we briefly touched on T-Rex, but it's also worth mentioning T-Rexes are cool. Again, potentially bosses though.
Okay, so it isn't. I think.
Yeah.
Because it definitely is in number 1, where it's the first
Round the corner.
Yeah, but like 2, where it's sort of like a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Has it sort of downgraded itself to, or is that an optional boss?
Yeah, maybe it's a hidden boss, you know, like RPGs have all the time, you know.
And then when it's used in 3, that's a boss, is it? But it's like
that's a boss.
Or is it a sub boss because it's in the middle?
It's so tricky, so it's got to be a boss, hasn't it? And you can have mid level bosses, like on Chronicles in Rome. There were several bosses in one level. But my pick is from Tomb Raider. I know, I don't often take one from the original game, but it is linked to the Atlanteans, but I don't think they are classed as an Atlantean, but it's the Centaurs. And I like them because they are fun to fight, particularly outside. Is it the Tomb of Qualapaq?
Yeah, is that the one where they explode from the statues, isn't it?
Yes, so it's got that exciting first moment. They fire the fireballs at you, but you've got to be jumping, and it's quite action packed, and they're just a good level where the combat's not really too difficult, and you've got a lot of space in that area to jump around. You can escape in the water if needed, so you don't feel too much pressure. And also there's that glitch where if it all gets too much for you, you can climb out on the other side of the water and just shoot
them from across the way.
For me, they're the most fun to fight, and they've got that horror vibe that you talked about.
I was wondering if you were going to say you get into like the mythology of sort of fighting certain sort of creatures or anything like that. Do you like where they've come from in literature or previous?
Yeah. I guess they are one of those classics, aren't they? They haven't actually leaked too much into modern pop culture, have they? Like vampires and werewolves with the whole Twilight thing. They're in Harry Potter, but
Will not find them sexy?
I don't know. I thought they are. You've either got a buff torso, and
They look brutal in the anniversary remake.
So, what's your pick? What is the ultimate?
Yeah, so for me, mine's like yours. It's across the different timeline Laras. So they are featured in both the classic series and the Legend series.
Okay.
And for me, it's the howl of the Yeti that does it.
The noise, I see it now. Yeah.
So, when you go into, I think it's Ice Palace, maybe in Tomb Raider 2, there's a bit where there's a big room. And you've fought one of the Yetis before, and you know what sound they make because it was down a hole, that one. And this time there's this huge room and there's no lights, but you can hear their wailing sounds. And there's just this, oh no, I'm gonna have to actually brave going into this room where I can't see anything and fight them. Like, that for me was like a steel yourself moment. And they also look really, really cool when they do them again, which I thought they were actually more of an ogre, but apparently you get them in Tomb Raider Underworld on your way to the last sort of boss.
Yeah, the room with the swinging hammers.
Yeah,
they're in there, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and they sometimes they come up from this sort of primordial goo or something that kills you if you go in it. This sort of sea of silvery wisps, and so that's a Yeti thrall. Because that's like reanimated apparently, but those just look so gnarly. I definitely felt like oh my gosh, this is a big enemy type. And then it doesn't take you too long in that game before they just become like absolute fodder, especially like if you've got one of the I think it's the Thor's hammer weapon, just bash them out of the way and you just feel so overpowered against them that it's really cool.
Yeah, that's fun though, isn't it? It's just fun and it's different, and yeah, I enjoyed that bit. It's almost a Natla in that bit. It's the boss, isn't she? But you've got the enemies as you're climbing up. Yeah, no, I love that. Good pick. Right, so Spotlight this week.
It's time for a spotlight. This spotlight this week is on ThatNorskChick, who does really fun and amusing Tomb Raider themed songs and raps occasionally. And one that I wanted to make you aware of playing through Angel of Darkness is Sunglasses at Night. I wear my sunglasses at night. Because she's such a badass. And the Norse chick made a really funny song about it.
Straight out of the Egyptian tomb, looking fresh in my clean new denim suit. Hook it up with my boy Von Croy. A noise rang out, 4 shots up, and I got knocked out. I get up, I'm looking through my pitch black shades. My man lay dead, red splash like paint. Is it me to blame, or have it been framed like the police piece? And I'm out like shade. I wear my sunglasses.
Yeah, I do like the way she kind of picks up on those kind of little kind of comical things that perhaps are unintentional in the game from a game dev point of view. But yeah, it turns that into funny song. And of course, tonight we met the friendliest prostitute of them all, Janice. And NorskChick does great, is it country or folk song about Janice, the friendly prostitute?
There